everyone, I hope you are doing great today. So we are going to talk about mathematics of finance, and we're going to focus our lesson on simple and compound interest. When you say interest, mao ni siya ang tubo mao ni mong bayaran gikan sa imong principal amount. For example, nanghuwam ka og 10 pesos, and then ang interest sa tubo is 50%. So, katunga niya is 5. So, on top ana, imuhang total na bayaran is 15. So, ang 5 ana, mo na siya ang gitawag nato og interest. So, ang principal class, maoto siya imong gihuwam. Pila to imong gihuwam? 10 pesos. So, how much is to be paid is called the rate of interest. So, ang rate of interest involve na siya og time. For example, every year, if dili nimo mabayaran kay na siya increase of 50% ang imuhang 10 pesos. So karon na year increase siya 5%, so 15 imong bayaran. Sunod na pod mag-increase na pod siya, so 20 na imong bayaran. Ya kung di hapon nimo mabayaran after 3 years, so 25 na imong bayaran. So that is how time is used no to calculate the rate of interest of the money that you have borrowed. So, simple interest class, this is the interest that does not become part of the principal. So, kung manghuwam ka kwarta or mag-invest ka kwarta, so i-compute daan ang interest na igo ra na siya ipatong sa imuhang gihuwam or gi-invest. So, that is just the simple interest. So, the formula to solve that is interest equals the principal times the rate times the time. Or it could be A equals P quantity 1 plus RT, which P stands for your principal amount, the R is the rate, and the T is the time. Okay, class, again, this is the formula that we're going to use to solve for the simple interest. So, unsay kalainan nilang duha. So, kaning I equals PRT class, ato ni gamiton kung ganahan ra ta makahiba kung pila ang interest na ato ang bayran. Okay, pila rang interest itong bayaran, ang I equals PRT itong gamiton. But kaning usa, kaning A equals P quantity 1 plus RT, ato ni siya gamiton kung ganahan ta makahibaw kung pila ang ato ang mabayaran na interest plus the principal. So this is the interest plus the principal amount, so mo ni siyang total nato bayaran. Mo ni na formula atong gamiton. So where A stands for the future value of investment or loan including the interest, your P is the principal investment or the principal loan na imuhang giborrow. R is the annual interest rate. So, ang mga annual interest rate kasagaran ani class like 8%, 5%, o 2%. So, when we're going to solve for that, ato siyang i-convert first into decimal. So, ang 8% is 0.08 and 2% is 0.02. Okay? And then the T here stands for the number of years the money is invested or borrowed for. It could be borrowed for 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. It depends upon the arrangement. Okay, I have here an example. A 2-year loan of 500 pesos is made with 4% simple interest. Find the interest earned. So, pangitaon naman nato ang interest, so gamiton nato ang I equals PRT. So, ato sa siyang i-determine kung unsay P, unsay R, unsay T. So, the time here is 2 years. So, our T is equals to 2. Then the initial amount, so this is the principal amount, is 500 pesos. So your P is 500. And then the rate is 4%. So again, ato siyang i-convert into a decimal. So i-divide na ang 4% into 100. So the rate is 0.04. So to solve for the interest, ato rang gamiton si I equals PRT. So this is used for computing the interest only. So, substitute the value. Your P is 500, your R is 0.04, and your time is 2 years. So, pila man di ay ang interest. So, ato ra na siyang ilahos og solve. The answer is 40 pesos. So, 40 pesos ang imuhang interest kung manghuwam ka og 500 pesos na naay rate of 4% simple interest for 2 years. So, 40 pesos ang imuhang bayaran na interest. So, we have here another example class. A business takes out a simple interest loan of 10,000 pesos at a rate of 7.5%. What is the total amount the business will pay if the loan is for 8 years? So put your shoes in this person. Nang huwam ka o kwarta kay ganahan ka mag-start of business. Inyong arrangement is 7.5% siya, and then you will repay the loan for 8 years. So pila kaha ang total nimo na bayaran? So let us break this down. So your time is 8. So 8 years. The rate is 0.075. So gi-divide ra si 7.5 by 100 to get that value. And then your principal is 10,000 pesos. So ang imong gamiton ani is this formula: A equals P times quantity 1 plus RT, para mahibaw-an nimo kung pila imong mabayaran na interest plus sa imuhang principal. So this is interest plus the principal na amount. So pilay total na imuhang mabayaran for 8 years. So next step here is to substitute the value. So P is 10,000. Then quantity, bring down lang nimo si 1 plus ang rate is 0.075 times that P, the time is 8. Okay, so next step is ato sa siyang sulbon ang sulod sa parentheses. So, according to PEMDAS, so mag-una pa man ang multiplication sulod sa parentheses. So, atong i-multiply si 0.075 times 8. So, the answer is 0.6. Tapos, ato siyang i-add si 1 plus 0.6. So, that would be 10,000 times 1.6. And then, ato ding i-multiply. So, the answer is 16,000 pesos. So, at 8 years time, with a rate of 7.5%, nang huwam ka og 10,000, imuhang bayranan total is 16,000 pesos. So, atong ma-compare ato before class na, kung gamay ang interest, gamay sad ang interest na imong mabayaran. Kung dako sad ang interest, dako sad gyud imuhang mabayaran. No? Kung mangutang ka. Okay, class, we have here another example. An interest of 720 pesos was paid on a 3,000 simple interest loan at the end of 2 years. What was the rate of interest charge? So, gihatagan tag interest na gibayaran is 720. Ang principal is 3,000 pesos and ang time is 2 years. So the question is, unsa day ang interest charged? So ato ang solbo ng iyahang rate of the interest charge. So this is the solution. So i-determine sa nato CI, that is 720 pesos. P is 3,000. So your R, your rate is missing. So mo natong isolve. And then T is equals to years. So atong gamito na ni is I equals PRT. So we're going to solve for the R. So atong buhaton na ni class is ato siyang i-divide, no? Atong i-divide si P and T both sides para makancel siya, si R na lang dayoy mahabilin. So to solve for your rate, that would be R equals I equals PT. Okay? Again, that is R equals interest over the principal times the time. So ato naman ang na-determine dire kung pila na si I, si P ug si T. So ato na din siyang i-substitute. So si I is 720, si principal is 3,000, and atong time is 2 years. So isolve nato 720 divided by 3,000 times 2, so that would be 6,000. So the rate is 0.12. So ato siyang i-convert into percentage. So ato ra siyang i-multiply by 100. So 0.12 times 100, that is 12%. So the rate of interest charge na nakabayad siya 720 pesos sa 300 na simple interest loan at the end of 2 years is 12%. Medyo dako-dako siya, class. Okay, another example, class, example number 4. What principal amount will accumulate to 135,500 in 2 years at 15% simple interest? So, ang gipangitaan ni is pila ang principal amount di ay ang giborrow or igi-invest na maka-accumulate siya og 135,500 na interest in just 2 years at 15% simple interest. So this is the solution. Ari sa ta sa given. So ang interest nato is 135,500. So atong gipangita si P, question mark sa, R is 15% or i-convert natin to decimal 0.15 and the time is 2 years. So let us solve for the principal. So using the I equals PRT, so ato na masang gisolve si P class. So na may katapad si P ni RT. So i-divide nato si RT both sides para si P na lay mahabilin. So that would be P is equals to I divided by RT. Okay, next is to substitute sa given. So the interest is 135,500 divided by the rate is 0.15 times the time, which is 2 years. So ato siyang i-compute, so that would be 135,500 divided by 0.30. The principal now is 451,666 pesos 666.67 pesos. So ato ra siyang i-round off ang final answer into 2 decimal places. So therefore class, the principal amount na naka-accumulate og 135,500 na interest in 2 years at 15% simple interest is 451,666.67 pesos. So that's how you are going to solve for the principal amount using the simple interest. So class, so adulting 101, so pwede ra sa jud kamo ang mo compute if mangutang mo or mo invest mo sa usa ka company or stocks. So kamo mismo ang mo compute para kabaw mo kung unsa ang dagan sa imuhang kwarta. Again, kahibaw ta dapat kung unsa ato ang gisudlan kung in case kita mang loan or mag-utang. Kay usahay man good, dili na ta makabantay na dako na day kayo ang rate. So, instead na noon na maimpasta, ang ending, magsige na tagbayad sa interest. So, it pays to know, good class, it pays to know, and with that knowledge, you can make a wiser decision when it comes to finances. Okay class, on the other side, if you want to invest in a high legit saving interest fund, pwede sagid kaayo. Naman tay gitawag og inflation. Ang inflation is the change of the value of the money in a long run. So, ang value po sa goods and services is moanam sa kasaka. For example, sa una, ang bubot, kung kailan mo ana, bubot is a sort of candy na siya, na ang sulod kay peanut. So, sa una kay tag 25 cents ra na ang bubot. Pero karon tag pila na, tag 2 pesos na siya. So kakita mo na in a long run ang atong pamaliton mo dako gyud. Likewise, ang value pud sa money because of the inflation. So rather na inyo nang ibutang din ha sa inyong kuan, inyong kaban, so isud na ninyo og bangko to beat the inflation. So it could be a high interest bank, so pwede ra sad kamo mag-compare tanan bangko and then imuhang tan-awon unsay pinakanindot na rate of savings. So savings or investment. So ang investment mas dako man na og rate sa change sa money kaysa savings, kay sa savings gamay ra man pud siya og interest, pero depende na siya sa bangko na inyong sudlan. So right now I'm using CIMB, so if you are curious, you can search it online. That is a high interest digital bank na siya. So digital meaning wala na siya ng physical office na imong atuan. So all transaction is done through your phone. So class, mag-cut-on jud tag tigom karon aron di ta magkalisod in the future. So next class is the compound interest. When we say compound interest class, this is the interest on a loan or deposit calculated based on both the initial principal and the accumulated interest from previous period. So it could be thought as the interest on interest. So imuhang interest na mo ibayon, magka-interest pa gyud siya, no? So the sum becomes the new principal amount. For example, balik ta sa katong 10 pesos nang huwam ka, kung simple interest ra siya 50%, so ana na year imong bayaran sa G's is 15. Next year, 20. So, nagtubo ra siya og 5. Kay mo na simple interest ato siya class. Pero ang compound interest, it would be a different computation. So, ato na first year, imong bayaran is 15, right? Kay imong principal G's man. So, next year, ana, dili 5 ang ipuno. But i-compute na pug balik ang imuhang Gs plus 15. So ang 15 ang kuhaan na pod og interest ato na second year. And so on and so forth. So mo ni siyang mudako ang value basta compounded ang interest. So we have here another definition of compound interest. So this is the sum by which the original principal has been increased by the end of the contract. So the compounded amount class is the total accumulated amount at the end of the period. So this is the original principal plus the compounded interest. So interest is said to be compounded monthly, kada buwan, quarterly, or semi-annually or annually. So monthly, kada buwan, quarterly, 4 quarters, so kaupat sa usa ka tuig. Semi-annually kaduha sa usa ka tuig or annually kada tuig. So when the conversion periods are taken, so take note on the conversion period. When you say annually, your n is 1. When you say semi-annually, that is n is equals to 2 kay gitunga magkaduha ang usa ka tuig semi-annually. Quarterly is kaupat and monthly is 12 because there are 12 months in a year. So time between successive interest computation is called your conversion period, while the total number of conversion periods for the whole term is designated by your letter n. So where n is the time times the month. Okay? So this is the formula in solving the compound interest. So we have here the amount equals the principal times quantity 1 plus the rate over the number of times interest is compounded per unit, your n, to the power of nt. So raised to the power of nt na siya class. So again, A is the future value of the investment, including the interest. Your P is the principal investment amount or the initial deposit or loan. The R is the annual interest rate. And the n is the number of times that the interest is compounded per year. So gihatag na ko sa previous slide no katong annually, semi-annually, quarterly, and so on and so forth. The t there is the time of years the money is invested or borrowed for. So example class, this is a manual computation for compound interest. So gipakita diri class na ang imuhang original amount gi-add siya sa imuhang principal amount, ang katong new sum or new total ato mo na sa kuhaan for the interest sa sunod na pud na tuig, no? So magsige siya increase. So this is just class how the interest is accumulated per year when we use the manual computation. Okay? However, class, sa ato ang discussion or kung maghatag na ko quiz or mag-solve na mo sa activities, we're going to use the formula lang so that we will have a unified answer. Kay usahay manggod mag-differensya ra siya sa sa decimal points, no? So para mausatan na natong answer kato lang formula ato ang gamiton. Pero diri ako lang ipakita kung unsa di ay ang movement sa money, no? Kung compound interest ang ato ang gigamit and manual atong pag-compute. Okay, we have example 1. If an amount of $5,000 is deposited into a savings account at an annual interest rate of 5% compounded monthly, find the value of the investment after 10 years. So the given here are your P or the principal is $5,000. The rate is 5%, which is 0.05. Compounded monthly. So atong conversion ato is kung monthly, that is equivalent to 12. So n is equal to 12. So find the value of the investment after 10 years. So your time is 10 years. So using the formula, A equals P times quantity 1 plus R over n to the power of nt. So we have to substitute the values in the given. So substitute P with 5,000, R with 0.05, and 12, and the T with 10. Okay, so the next step here, class, is to solve first ang gisud sa parentheses. So unahon sa natog divide si 0.05 divided by 12 plus 100. And then we can also multiply that 12 times 10 sa iyahang power. So that is taas kaayo no 1.004166. So kani class, if mag-solve pa ta, dili pa ni nato i-round off to 2 decimal places. So adto na ta mag-round off sa tong final answer para dili bitaw maglahi-lahi ang ato ang decimal points, consistent ta. Okay, so iswat na inyo tanan, and then after this ato asyang solve using the raised to the power of 120. So that is 1.64700949769. So pinaka-last nato ni buhaton is ato asyang i-multiply. So the answer now is 8,235.05. So therefore, class, the investment balance after 10 years is $8,235.05. Another example, class, is accumulate 15,000 for 5 years at 6% compounded quarterly. Okay? So we have here the given, your principal is 15,000. So since it is compounded quarterly, so n is equals to 4, kay kaupat ki-divide sa usa ka tuig, then your rate is 6%, that is 0.06, and then the time is 5 years. So use the formula and substitute the given. So we have now our answer. A is equals to 20,202.83 pesos. Okay? Let me show you, class, how to solve the exponent kung dagko na kaayo no mo raise to the power of 20, 100 sa inyong scientific calculator. If may scientific calculator, you can download a scientific calculator at the Google Play Store. Okay, so i-type ninyo ang base. For example, this 1.015 to the raise to the power of 20. So i-type sa ninyo ang base. And then, next is to look for the symbol kanitong arrow up. So, sa yung calculator na arrow up din ha. This means raise to the power. So, after that, inyo na i-press, inyo hadang i-type ang iyahang exponent. That is 20. So, sa inyong calculator, it would look like 1.015. Yan na siya arrow up, 20. So, gi-raise nato si 20. Ang 1.015 to 20. Then you press equal. So the answer should be 1.346855000655. Okay, another example. Grace and Donna deposited 8,000 pesos in a savings account at 5%. If interest is compounded monthly, what will be the amount of their deposit at the end of 2 years? So, nag-save sila og 8,000. So, the principal is 8,000. The time is 2 years and then compounded monthly. So, n is equals to 12 and the rate is 5% or 0.05. So, to solve for that one, use the formula A equals P times quantity 1 plus R over N raised to the power of NT. Then, substitute. So, P is 800 plus 1 plus 0.05 divided by 12 raised to the power of 12 times 2. Okay, then you solve. I-divide sa ninyo first si 0.05 divided by 12, then add to 1, and after that, inyo din i-solve raised to the power of 24. If you get the answer, you multiply it to the 8,000. So the answer here is 8,839.53 pesos. So now let's compare the simple and compound interest. So when you say simple interest, it is only the interest on the principal amount. So for example, $200 is invested with a rate of 3% for 2 years. So ay muhang interest sa first year is $6. Ang interest nimo sa second year is $6. So same ra yung interest kay simple man siya. Gikuha na interest ay mo principal. So the total interest ninyo ato na 2 years is $12. When you say compound interest, on the other hand, it is interest on principal and interest previously earned. So we have the same example or same problem, $2,000 invested with a rate of 3% for 2 years. So the first year inyuhang interest is $6. But on the second year, i-add naman na si $6 ato sa imong principal. So ang $206 na dahil inyuhang kuhaan og interest for the next year. So that's why the second year ay muhang interest is $6.18. So the total interest when it is compounded is 12.18. So dako kag makwarta sa compound interest compare sa simple interest. So we have here a movement of the principal plus the interest over time. So gi-compare nato si simple interest and compound interest and over time. So mag-invest ka, let's say 5, 10 or 15 years. So kakita ka sa simple interest, it is just linear, straight ra gina siya because you are earning a fixed amount of interest. However, when you say compound interest, tanawa, ni pasaka siya, mutaas siya. So kadugayan ang imuhang kwarta kung din imo hilabtan in a long term mudako pagid na siya through compound interest. So mo na siya gitawag sa finance world of the magic of compounding the interest. Okay, class, so we have here another example, class, of comparing the simple and compound interest. So the simple interest at the year 10, ang total interest earned is $10,000. However, sa compound interest, maka-earn ta after 10 years with $15,937. So mas dako gyud ang compound na makuha kaysa simple interest. Okay, class, so we are now at the end of our presentation. So I think you already know the difference between the simple and compound interest, and use this knowledge and apply this in your life. No, lamang talaga ang may alam. If you know how to handle money, the money will work for you. So use your money as a tool to improve your life, to improve others people's life. You control the money, do not let the money control over you. Okay? So ari na ta sa application na part, class. Discussing to you is one way, but doing it is another way of learning. So i-apply ninyo kung siyang nakatunan sa pag-solve sa simple and compound interest. Ang activity kay naa ni siya sa PowerPoint presentation, second to the last slide, na akong i-share sa Google Classroom. So i-answer it sa clean sheet of paper and then submit it in the classroom. So class, I hope that you have found value sa ato ang discussion karon and you will apply this in your life. So that's it for today. Have a great day ahead of you.